Hey, it's your boy BG. You know, affordable education for students is a topic that concerns many families and citizens in Canada. And it's a subject that many of you want to be covered in this election. You know, politicians have been discussing tuition prices and student aid, and each party has announced its own plans to help students out. But which party has the best plan? We'll discuss.
But first, tuition across Canada has been increasing every year, making it harder and harder for students to pay for their education. In the 2017-2018 academic year, there were more than 2.1 million students enrolled in Canadian public universities and colleges. Now, let's break down how much they're paying. According to Stats Canada, nationally, students enrolled full-time in undergrad programs will pay on average just over $6,900 in 2021-2022. That's the average across all of Canada. That's almost double what students were paying back in 2001, when the price of tuition was about $3,400.
But let's dig deeper and look at Ontario, the most populous province in Canada. Full-time undergraduate students in Ontario are expected to pay just under $8,000 for tuition this year, one of the highest in the country. Only Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Saskatchewan have higher tuitions, with students in Nova Scotia paying the highest at more than $9,000. So,
as tuition continues to increase, subsidies and student aid have decreased. For example, in 2019, Doug Ford's Ontario government announced a new tuition framework to the OSAP that directly impacted thousands of students. These cuts included cutting the 6-month interest-free grace period students had to repay their student loans, and taking away grants from portions of the financial aid and making them loans instead, thereby burdening students with more debt.
So here's the issue. Debt is very common among students. Stats have shown 45% of undergrad students graduated with debts larger than $25,000. In 2019 alone, Canadian students collectively owed, get this, $28 billion in student loans to all levels of government. All of this debt, though, makes it harder for students to start their lives, like purchasing their first home, for example, because much of their paychecks from their jobs have to go to paying off their student debt. And this can take years for some people, more than a decade in some instances. So what are the party's plans to aid students? Let's take a look.
Let's start with the Liberals. This is what they want to do. The party promises to continue providing the increased Canada Student Grant of $6,000 for 2 more years. They also want to permanently eliminate federal interest on Canada student loans and Canada Apprentice loans. The party promises to create a fund to help hire 1,200 mental health professionals at Canadian university and colleges, and spend $500 million and another 10% annually to support Indigenous governed and operated post-secondary institutions. The Liberals also promise to make sure new grads don't have to start paying their loans back until they can make at least $40,000 per year. The Liberals also want to increase funding to $80 million a year for post-secondary institutions in minority languages.
Okay, let's look at the Conservatives. And you know what? They didn't have much in their platform when it comes to students and investing in post-secondary education. But we did find a few things, including the fact that the party wants to create a post-secondary jobs program to help international students right here in Canada. They also promised to create a new $30 million per year budgetary envelope to provide federal funding to minority francophone post-secondary institutions.
And now on to the NDP. This is what they promise: to remove interest permanently on all federal student loans. The NDP party is also promising to cancel up to $20,000 in federal student debt per student and put an immediate stop to loan payments during the pandemic and eliminate student debt interest. The NDP says this proposal would cost $3.95 billion over 5 years. They also want to permanently double non-repayable Canadian student grants. As well, the party promises to give new graduates a 5-year grace period on federal loan payments.
And finally, the Green Party. The Green Party actually wants to abolish post-secondary tuition to make education universally accessible. They also want to adopt student debt cancellation programs that exceeds $10,000. Plus, the party wants to institute a community and environment service corps to support youth employment, research, and development in crucial Canadian sectors. Also, they want to invest in the green economy and create new green apprenticeship programs for young Canadians. And lastly, they want to eliminate the Canadian Student Loans Program in-study income assessment and extend grant availability to graduate and doctoral students. You know, these parties all have different plans, all aimed at helping students, but which one will make getting an education easier and more affordable for students across this country? We want to hear from you, so let us know your thoughts right now in the comment section. And don't forget to keep it locked on this channel for more explainer videos and more of your Canada Election 2021 coverage.